It's Mike Lensing here with my co-host Jason Sunkel tonight.
2 weeks in a row, Mike. I'm
And
here 2 weeks in a row. I'm here.
2 weeks in a row. You've caused the triple double though to become the double double. I got to let you know that Coach
Well,
Brost is not he's not happy with you. Your
listen.
lack of attendance, your lack of attendance for the
Well,
triple
you
double
got to
has
give me more
caused
notice
some.
than you got to give me more notice than an hour before the podcast, Mike.
Well,
True,
dude, we've
true.
been recording on we've been recording on
No,
Wednesday
no,
night for
but
the last
if I
7 years.
I know, but if no, that's not true because we've alternated dates. So don't say that.
Okay, all
If you
right,
give me more than
all
an hour
right,
notice, that's
pretty
Broast.
much.
I will make sure that I don't fall asleep in my daughter's room because they want me to lay in their room while they're going to bed. I will make it a point to be like, I have schoolwork to do, or I cannot do this, but you did not tell me this. And then by the time I woke up, it was like 1:30 a.m. and I was disoriented. So Rob Brost, 50% of this is on Mike. Every single Tuesday, I ask who's on the podcast. He did not tell me you were on it the night before. And we had this conversation, and he couldn't even remember who the guests were the next day. Mike, true or false last Tuesday?
I mean, it's certainly 100% possible. Well, no, by Tuesday I would have known because I had to make some podcast calls on Monday, so I would have known who it was.
Tuesday. Well,
But
Tuesday, Tuesday, we had just recorded for an hour and like 35 minutes, and you said, I don't remember. And then I think that was the end of the conversation. So,
these are old man difficulties when we're tired falling asleep on the
listen,
couch.
you are
So
old man.
I'm
You were
not.
tired. You were tired. You're the old man.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, you and me both. I mean, it's just falling asleep at a moment's notice. It's what it's all about. So
All right. So
anyway,
that's behind the scene, enough behind the scenes, Mike. So,
behind the scenes, there we go.
I know we're going to talk about the jersey. Do we just want to talk about the Maverick stuff beforehand, or do we want to talk about that when we talk about the jerseys? Does that just seem to? What do you
Let's
want to
spend
do?
let's spend 2 minutes on the Mavericks because there might
What
be
a, what
another
a
question that one of us might want to ask.
what a cluster. That's what I'm going to say. It's a disaster. If I'm the Dallas Mavericks, okay. First of all, I don't know how much you saw about this. Did you see the kid that was sitting next to the owner of the Mavericks in a Doncic Laker jersey? Did you read about this at all?
No, I didn't
Or,
see that.
so he was apparently a kid who went to opening night and flipped off the owner and was yelling at him. And his dad apparently made him this. Now this was I saw this on Twitter, so let's take that with a grain of salt because it was not Centel though, because I made sure before I talked about this tonight that the kid apparently his dad, they have season tickets and they sit like 5 or 6 rows behind the owner. And he was flipping off and yelling at the owner, but they didn't kick him out because the owner, I guess apparently this owner at least has thick skin, whatever. Anyways, he sat his dad made him go and apologize to the owner yesterday at the home game, from what I'm reading. And like, they're like, did this kid apologizing to the owner about the behavior? And they literally there were some pictures and video of him talking to the owner for like 5 to 10 minutes. Did that lead to Nico Harrison getting fired? And I was like, come on, let's be honest. There have been reports the last 48 hours about him possibly getting fired. But this is just an absolute disaster for the Dallas Mavericks. I think the nail in the coffin was Dirk Nowitzki talking about them on the Prime show. I honestly think that was the nail in the coffin. Did you see what Dirk Nowitzki said on the Prime show, Mike, or here?
No, I did not. No.
I'm gonna look at. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I feel bad. This is what he said. I feel bad for Mansman. This has been a disaster start. Obviously, there's a hole at the point guard and playmaking position. We knew that hole wasn't filled this summer. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know where they're going. This was said 3 days ago on Friday night on the Prime show. So if he wasn't close to being fired, or if he was close to be fired, this maybe this is his job interview. Maybe this is Dirk Nowitzki is going to be the new guy. Like maybe he's leaving his Prime show and he's going to be the Prime analyst and he's going to be the candidate. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Maybe. I mean, you could do worse from a public relations standpoint than hiring Dirk. I don't know whether he can do the job or not. So that would remain to be seen. but certainly from a fan perspective and bringing in someone who is beloved in your city and in your franchise, Dallas could do a lot worse than hiring Nowitzki. I think, look, there's no possible way that you could ever justify making the trade that they made to trade a
Oh,
guy who is a
Mike,
top five. What?
Mike, Chuck Klosterman tried to start. Did you listen to that yet? Did you listen to
I didn't
Simmons' new
listen to it
podcast?
yet. No,
Klosterman
no.
tried to make a 10-minute pitch as to what Nico Harrison could have made the argument for, and the whole time I was listening, I was like, "What is he talking about?" So I'm interested once you
Look,
listen to
okay.
that podcast. Come on now, get out of here with that.
Look,
I agree with you.
I mean, look, it's fine. You could come up with theoretical reasons why it might have made sense, and the argument was made over and over again, right? That Luka was never going to get in shape in Dallas. He wasn't going to ever commit to what people wanted him to. I mean, you and I have had discussions on this podcast about what is Luka ever going to take his conditioning and his body seriously, and is he ever going to be in shape? And if he ever is, what would that look like, considering that he was basically 5 years in a row first team All NBA? So there definitely is a case to be made that the guy was never going to live up to his potential because he wasn't going to get in shape while he was in Dallas. Could you make that argument? Sure, you probably could. And yet at the same time, he was first team All NBA 5 years in a row,
Yeah,
and he wasn't yet 25 years old. So all those arguments, no matter what argument you make, it all kind of falls away just in light of the fact that Luka as a talent, you just can't trade those kinds of guys away, especially not at the age that Nico Harrison traded away Luka Doncic. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Even if you don't like the guy, even if you feel like he's cancerous, whatever,
drinking
you
too many
can't make
beers
that
in the
trade.
post game.
Correct. There you go. Yes, I did see that one. I did see that. But you eh, it just you can't make the argument that getting rid of him was in any way, shape, or form going to improve your franchise's odds of winning a championship, considering the fact that the previous season the Mavericks were in the NBA Finals, and 2 seasons before that they were in the Western Conference Finals with rosters that arguably are not built tremendously well around him. And so everything that Nico Harrison did, said, that led up to the trade and then after the trade, there's just no way you can survive it. And I don't think, look, they were obviously off to a bad start this year. Right now, Lively's out, Davis is out. Obviously, Kyrie's been out the whole year. You're playing Cooper Flag out of position at point guard. And there was a lot of, before the season, I think there was some thought, and there were definitely people that thought that Dallas was going to maybe play better than what the consensus was. But you can't have that's three out of your best four players, Lively, Davis, and Kyrie, out right now, and expect that you're going to turn the ball over to an 18-year-old kid who should be, because he reclassified, should be a freshman in college. Give him the ball and think that that's going to go well in his first year in the NBA. And Flag he had 26, I think, last night. He's been very up and down. I mean, clearly he's talented. He's going to be a very, very good player, but he's not ready to carry that kind of a load at
His name is
age
not
18.
LeBron James, Mike. That's LeBron James is
Well,
the last
and
18-year-old to come into the league and do something that. And if you remember, the Cavs were terrible their first season. His
that's
first
what I'm
season.
saying. And LeBron was good, but the Cavs were terrible. And LeBron shot the ball really poorly. He had tons of turnovers. He was doing some of the same things that Cooper Flag is doing, which is showing flashes of brilliance. And in a lot of moments, he was struggling. And so it's not surprising that Nico Harrison got fired. I think what you have to look at here, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, is firing Nico Harrison feels like cutting the tip off the iceberg, and that maybe the problems run deeper in Dallas than just Nico Harrison, because clearly no NBA general manager does things on their own without consulting ownership. And for Patrick Dumont to approve slash be on board / go along with trading Luka does not bode well for the future of the Mavericks franchise underneath Patrick Drumont's ownership. And so, what comes next? I mean, do you hire Dirk Nowitzki? Do you hire Steve Nash? I don't know what you do, but do you bring in an executive? Do you promote somebody from within? I have no idea what the Mavericks are going to do, but this far into Patrick Dumont's ownership tenure, if I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, I don't have a tremendous amount of confidence that whatever decision is made from this point on is going to work
Be a
out
good one.
well. And look, they were unbelievably lucky to fall backwards into Cooper Flag. And who knows? They could very well, if this season continues they're going to reach a point where continuing to try to compete and win games is going to become a bad move for the Dallas Mavericks. And
And that's
maybe
gonna be
they're
a
just
good
better
move.
off.
That's gonna be a good move for me and in the NBA totals pool, Mike.
It is. It is. But maybe they're going to just move towards the tankathon. And if they finish outside the playoffs and put themselves back in the lottery, I believe they have their first round pick this year. And then after that, they don't have control of their draft for a little while, but they do have their first round pick this year. And so if they were to get a lottery pick again this year and jump up into the top 3 or 4 and get Darren Peterson or get DeBansta or get Boozer or get Caleb Wilson from North Carolina or whoever, that they could then add to Cooper Flag and build. And again, I think the right timeline is not Anthony Davis and Kyrie. The right timeline that they should be building around is Flag. And so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for them to end up in the draft lottery again and roll the dice. And who knows, maybe you get lucky 2 years in a row, and now all of a sudden you've got a nucleus of players that you can build upon.
Yeah. I don't. They're not a team that I'm worried about in the West from the Western Conference. They're a disaster. Klay Thompson looks like, I don't know.
He's
hanging out with
himself. He's a shell.
He's hanging out with Megan Thee Stallion too much, Mike.
He is.
So.
And he can't really play competent basketball at a very high level anymore. So yeah, Dallas is in trouble. I still think that long term, Flag's going to be fine, and Lively's going to be a very good player if he can stay healthy. We all know Anthony Davis and what he is and what he's been. When he's on the floor, he's a very good player, but he has a hard time staying on the floor. And this team just they don't have enough playmaking to really take advantage of the quality of their front line. And Cooper Flag's 18 years old. And as good as he is, no 18-year-old is ever ready to take the reins of a good playoff team, especially not in the 2025-2026 Western Conference. So
yeah.
Dallas is going to struggle all year. And in all honesty, for their long-term prospects of this franchise, the best thing they probably could do is finish in outside the playoffs and give themselves another shot at moving up in the lottery and trying to get another guy to pair with Cooper Flag moving forward. So we'll see what happens.
I'm going to make a prediction. You ready?
Yep.
Before the end of the season, Klay Thompson is a member of the Golden State Warriors again.
I could see that.
Dallas buys him out or whatever. I don't know the ramifications, all that, and he goes back to Golden State. That's my prediction.
Wouldn't be that surprising.
There you go. All right.
I'm not sure how good that relationship is. I don't think he left on the best terms, but who knows?
But I mean, they gave him the tribute night, and they gave away the captain's hats. Remember, they gave him the captain's hats out to the whole stand. I'm listening. There's that situation's still okay. I think it's okay.
All right. Okay. All right.
So I'm that's my prediction. I'm going with it. And if I'm
right.
wrong, I'm
okay.
What's the worst that's going to happen? Someone some troll on the internet is going to be like, "You said he was going to end up here, and he ended up here instead," or "He's still in Dallas." Go ahead.
That's right.
Come after me.
All right.
All right. So, the rest of the podcast is going to be Mike's going to be sharing his screen, if he can get this pulled up, and we're going to be taught. The NBA revealed the city uniforms. Mike, this is exciting news. This is exciting. It's an exciting day. The way we're going to structure this is we are going to say a yay or nay or a meh to the uniforms, and then one of us is going to ask each other a question, and we're going to have about approximately 1 to 2 minute answer. Does that sound about right, Mike?
Sounds right to me.
All right. So the first up is the Atlanta Hawks, Mike. And they've already used this one, I think, right? At some point. This looks familiar.
I have no idea. I mean, I know again, all these teams, I mean, how many years are we going on now? The city edition jerseys.
I
So
think 5 or
there's only
6.
so many. Yeah, there's only so many variations of the whatever alternate name for the city and that kind of stuff. So
Well,
I'm sure you've
I like
seen
I like I like
Peachtree
I
on there.
mean, yeah. I here's what I say. I don't necessarily need the word Peachtree, but I like the color combination here. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up just because I like the color combination.
All right, I'm gonna give it it's all right. I don't love it. It seems kind of boring. Throw a peach tree on there, or like not just the words. Give me some kind of graphic or something. Make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna give this one a meh. It's not terrible, but
And once
I
again,
don't
I
like
want to
no.
say we have not seen any of the other. The only two that I saw was this one and the Cavs one. So I don't know what I'm getting into. So there might be some that I'm saying this is good, and then I'm like, oh, actually these are way better. So we're
Yeah, there you go. All right. So you don't know if you're grading on a curve yet or not. You're not
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I
So
completely
Mike's going to ask
understand.
me the first. Mike's going to ask me the first question about about the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm going to do my best to answer with my great basketball knowledge about the Atlanta Hawks. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. All right. I know you have a lot of Atlanta Hawks takes you've been waiting to get off your chest. Okay. Here's my question. Are the Atlanta Hawks better off without Trae Young?
Whoa, that's the $1 million question. I mean, if Nico Harrison's your GM, probably, um, because he traded him, traded Luka. I think. I mean, I think in the short term, no, but in the long term, yes. I think that's probably my answer. It's probably a bit like a cop out answer. I think obviously is the team better if they uh, have him on their team currently, yes, but I think in the long term, I mean his defense is pretty terrible as it is. I think he continues to be on Atlanta Hawks. His defense is only going to go down, and you can only go so far. Listen, he will always be remembered for his moments in Madison Square Garden and what he did to the New York Knicks, but that's his one shining moment. Like no one else, like nothing else that he has done has elevated that team. I mean, they had the play-in game against the Cavs, which we don't fondly remember that. But like, what else is Trae Young remembered for? He had some great, okay games in the regular season, and then he had one series in Madison Square Garden. So I think short term the answer is yes. Long term the answer is no.
That's the right answer. And that's
Oh,
exactly the answer I would have gave. It's exactly the answer because I do think that short term they miss him, but long term he's still due for his extension. I'm not sure that they want to pay him the max because if they did, I'm sure Trae Young would have signed it already if it had been offered. And so the question becomes if Trae Young is your max player or your near max player, what is your team? And I don't know that Atlanta has the guy yet. Jalen Johnson is probably close, but I would still say the best version of Jalen Johnson is probably short of being a top 10 player in the league. So you're still looking for that guy if you're Atlanta, but I don't think Trae Young is that guy either. And if you pay a guy like he's a top 10 player, but he's not, that's when your franchise gets in trouble. So I think your answer was spot on. All right. We are moving on to our next team. So let me go back and reshare the screen and we'll get to the Boston Celtics. So here we go. All right, Boston.
thumbs down. That's terrible. That's terrible. Like,
All right,
what's
uh,
the
I'll give it. Oh
no?
man, I don't know.
That's terrible. That's so bad.
Okay, so here's why it's terrible. It's terrible because it's essentially their same jersey, but
Just
just
a white
with gold,
with no.
which I don't understand why you'd have gold on it. So
They didn't win the
yeah, I'll give it
championship
a,
last year. Get out of
you know,
here.
I'm gonna give it an I don't hate it that much. I actually kind of like the gold and white, but I just don't like it for Boston, I guess. So
I'm out. I'm out
maybe I
on
give
it.
it a thumbs. Maybe I'll give it a thumbs down just because I don't think it goes with Boston's jerseys. I don't know. I don't know what it needs. It needs the 3-leaf clover or the leprechaun or something on
Yeah,
there
something,
just to make it
something.
more
Like,
interesting.
look
So
at
thumbs down.
Even this Browns sweatshirt has Brownie the Elf on it. Come on now.
There you go. There you go. All right, give me a question.
Is Jalen Brown's hairline really rubbing off on other players? I'm sorry, that's not the question I'm going to ask. Are Jalen Brown and Derek White on the team after the trade deadline? Are both of them on the team, or one of them on the team? What combination of the two of them are on the team still at the trade deadline?
I think both of those two guys are on the team because if you look at what they already got rid of two high-priced salaries in Porzingis and Drew Holiday. And if you're Boston and Jason Tatum's going to come back, and even if he doesn't come back this season, the fact that he had the surgery the same day when he got injured, the fact that he's working hard to be able to come back, the fact that he was dunking before the season started leads me to believe that even if for some reason Boston holds him out and he doesn't play, that he's going to be pretty far along in his rehab, right? We always think of an Achilles tear or an ACL, that the guy comes back, but it's another full season until he's really back to being himself. But maybe because of the timeline of when Tatum got hurt and his rehab and whatever, maybe Tatum is ready. Maybe he does come back at the end of this year, even if Boston is terrible, and just to get some playing time and get out there on the floor. And so maybe next season he comes back at full strength. Well, if he comes back at full strength, at that point, Tatum's going to be what I think probably like 20, maybe 8, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
And if that's the case, do you really want to be in a situation where you're going to have to try to build and find pieces that fit around Tatum for his year 29 and year 30? Or do you want to have Jalen Brown and Derek White already in place and then try to figure out, hey, what can we do with the rest of the roster? Now, you could make an argument that trading one or both of those guys then gives you the opportunity maybe to move up and be terrible this season, tank it away, get into the lottery, maybe get lucky. And now you're pairing whichever of those guys is left. Maybe you've kept Jalen Brown and traded Derek White, or vice versa, and you still have Tatum, and now you add one of those young guys. But again, how quickly do those rookies contribute to championship teams? And the answer to that is not very often. You're still talking it's a year or two. So I just think you have two guys who are part of the Celtics championship roster. And I just don't think that you want to waste Jason Tatum's age 29 and 30 seasons trying to find guys to put around him and build a roster again when you already have two guys that you know fit. And I know Boston's expensive, but they were able to jettison some salary and getting rid of Porzingis and Drew Holiday. So I think I think they're both on the team come past the trade line. Come February or March 1st, whatever. I think both of those guys are still on the team.
I think Derek White's not on the team, but I think Jalen Brown is.
Okay.
That's
I
where
mean, it's
I'm at.
fair. It wouldn't be totally surprising, but I just think that Boston's going to want to win when Tatum comes back. I don't think they're going to want to have to retool completely. And they're already going to have to retool a little bit and find some pieces, but if you trade one or both of those guys, I think then you're really looking at not a complete rebuild, obviously, because with Tatum and whoever, that gives you a pretty good nucleus. But if you're talking about trying to win a championship, you need to have both of those guys on the roster. So that's what I would say. All right, next team. Here we go. The Brooklyn Nets. This uniform looks familiar.
Yeah, it does.
I
It
do
looks
like
familiar.
the I do like the rainbow. I don't know how creative it is, but I like the look. I'm giving that one a thumbs up.
Yeah, I think it's the best one I've seen so far. I think it's the best one
I
for
like
sure.
Yeah, the black and white color scheme that the Nets have is solid. It's a solid look all the way around, and then obviously the burst of color that they've used before. I think I'm not sure what it has to do with the city of Brooklyn. I guess it's graffiti or whatever, but I I like it. So thumbs up for Brooklyn.
Thumbs up. Look at us.
All
There we
right,
go. Brooklyn.
all right.
Brooklyn, you got thumbs up for something you're doing this season.
Okay, so my question for you regarding the Brooklyn Nets. Ooh, this is a
Well,
tough
I'm really
one.
excited about this.
I don't know how in depth. I was going to ask you which of the five number one draft picks that the Brooklyn Nets made is playing the best, but a lot of them are in the G League, so I'm not sure that you're going to have a really strong opinion on which of those guys is going to be which of those guys is going to be the best player moving forward for the Brooklyn Nets. So I'll start with as simple as this. Can the Brooklyn Nets win 15 games this year? Are they going to win 15 games?
Well, they're at 1 right now, right? They're 1-9.
They're currently 1-10. Currently 1-10. They lost to the Raptors tonight.
Oh, look at that! You get you another point right there. By the way, we are. The spread is 11. So last week you were up 12. Now you're up 11. So I mean, it's in my way. It's my way. It's keeping it close to start. Anyways, can they win 15 games? I mean, do they play the Wizards 15 times? Because the Wizards are pretty bad.
Well, between the Wizards, the Pacers, and the Nets, there is a lot of losses to be had. There are a lot of losses.
Yeah, I'm not liking my Pacers win pick. That one's hurting me.
No, that's
big
not
time.
good. Yeah, that's
Okay.
really killing you, buddy.
I'm gonna say the answer is no. I don't think they get the 15 wins. I think that did you say more than 15 wins or did you say 15 wins?
I don't care. You can call it however you want to call it.
I don't think they get the 15 wins. I think they are going to get to double digits, but it's not going to be many more than that. I'm going to say 13 wins, Mike, which is good for your draft pick. Cool.
Yeah, that's
13
fine.
and 69.
I think. Yeah, they're bad. I mean, they're bad. I mean, they are pitifully bad, and I don't know what the route is for at least this season. I don't know what the route is for them to get out of it. They are clearly in the tankathon. They are clearly looking to
and they have their
parlay
pick, right?
or
They have their pick.
they do.
So that's a
They have their
positive.
pick. So that's a positive for Brooklyn. So if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, you cannot wait until June for the NBA draft lottery because slogging through this season at the Barclays Center is not going to be any fun. All right, that's enough Brooklyn Nets talk. Let's go ahead and move to our next team. We'll get the
Cleveland
I'm
Cavaliers.
getting pretty good at it. I'm
Oh
getting
no,
pretty good here at the screen share. The next team is the Charlotte
Ooh,
Hornets.
that gets a thumbs up from me. Those look like if I wore my old fire shoes or you wore your like bright shoes with those. Yeah, I think that looks nice. I like the way that Charlotte is on. It's like slightly slanted. I like that, Mike. That's a big thumbs up. That's a good one. I like that one. It's got the Jordan logo, of course. The Jordan logo up there. It's perfect.
Yeah, the Jordan logo. The Jordan logo is solid. Can never go wrong there. I like the script Charlotte. I like how it's on an angle. Again, I'm not necessarily always a fan of. I like to see the team's real color scheme somehow be incorporated into
Oh, you're not going to
the
like
jersey.
the Cavs on that.
I guess the Charlotte. I guess the Charlotte and the number could be the Hornets purple maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but the jersey pops. I like it. So thumbs up for Charlotte.
All right. My question for the Charlotte Hornets. Do the Charlotte Hornets have any legitimate shot at being anything more than a play-in team? Or are they not even a play-in team in your eyes, Mike?
I think they could be a play-in team. I really do. I know right now they're 3-7. I know they're bad. They got a ton of injuries right now. Completely unsurprising. LaMelo's got an ankle injury.
There's got to be a team. There's 5 bad teams in the East right now. bad
Right.
teams. They're not.
Right.
They're
I
not.
get it.
They're not. They're so they have to be there, right? They have to be there. I agree with you.
I think, yeah, Brandon Miller's been out with a shoulder and has barely played. So those are their two best guys. What I will say is that I saw a stat that Con Knipple, their rookie out of Duke, that he's the first NBA player in history to score 150 points and make 33 pointers, I think, in his first 10 games in the history of the league. So he's off to what I would say is a solid start. He's playing 32 minutes a game. I'm looking at his stats right now. He's averaging almost 17 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He's shooting 45% from the floor and 40% from three on 8 attempts per game. So
Is he the
when you start
is
talking,
he the like? I know Cooper Flag has all the buzz, right? Is he the only real threat to Rookie of the Year for Cooper
no,
Flag?
VJ Edgecombe.
Oh,
I mean, Edgecombe, I
Edgecombe, yeah,
think,
I forgot. Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think Edgecombe is right there. And Dylan Harper, before he got hurt, I think Dylan Harper was probably going to be able to be in the discussion, although statistically he might not be able to keep up with these other guys. But clearly, with the success of the Spurs and being a good player on a good team, that always helps. So the statistical piece of it will probably trump everything else. But I think right now your three favorites are Knipple, Edgecombe, and Cooper Flag. But when I look at Knipple and see what he's done to this point, and just when you watch him play, he's going to be he's going to, I think, end up being he could be a very, 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 very high level third best player on a championship team. I mean, I really think he's that good just because of all the things that he could do. He might even be able to be the second best player on a really good team because he shoots it, he puts it on the floor, he can rebound. I think he's going to be a very, very good player in this league for a long time. And in a
Man,
lot of
that means a
ways,
lot coming. That means a lot coming from you, considering you played at Duke, Mike. That
correct. I agree. I agree 100%. I think he's almost, when you look at, he's almost the anti, right? He's the anti LaMelo in that he's not super flashy. I don't think anyone is signing up to see Instagram reels of Con Knipple. But if you're talking about somebody who's going to play winning basketball, I think that's exactly what he does.
Yep.
And look, Charlotte still has decisions to make, right? Of whether LaMelo is, as we've talked about numerous times, is he a serious basketball player or is he just a sideshow? And if he ever figures it out and utilizes his talent in such a way that plays winning basketball, and if Brandon Miller can stay healthy, which he's had trouble doing so far in his young career, I do think that Charlotte has some pieces. And I do think that Charles Lee is, I think, a good coach. And they could, again, the whole thing just hangs on LaMelo, right? I feel like they could be heading in a positive direction, but does LaMelo torpedo that, or does he aid in rowing the ship going the right way?
In
I
the
don't know
right
what the
direction.
answer to that is, but I do know that I do know that Knipple's going to be good, and I do know that because of how bad the Eastern Conference is, you have to say that Charlotte has a chance to at least sneak into that 9 or 10 play-in spot just because of how bad the bottom of the Eastern Conference is.
All right.
All right.
Next up.
Next one. Next up. Let's get to it. All right. Our next team, we are going to the Chicago Bulls.
Are you sharing your screen, Mike?
I am. Am I not, or did I not?
You're not.
I
You're
didn't.
not
Oh
sharing your
no, I
screen.
didn't. Sorry, I didn't. There we go. Sorry about that. See, I was doing
Ooh.
so well, and then I like that. That's a
Okay.
thumbs up.
I like it too. That's a thumbs up too. I like it a lot. I
Similar to
do enjoy
Charlotte,
it.
right? You got the Chicago in the script at an angle. I like the little stars on the side. I like the color scheme, the black with the red and light blue.
Could
Pops off the jersey. I'm a fan.
Chicago just make a jersey and just put Jordan's face on it? Could they do
Put the
that?
jump man. Could they just put the jump man on there? That'd be perfect.
I do find
win.
it interesting that their jerseys are not Jordan, and
Yeah,
because like the Charlotte ones are.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know what the licensing is on that, but like, and how they decide, or if I don't actually know the answer to that question. You don't know the answer to that question, do you?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Oh, okay. But all right, hit me with the Chicago Bulls question, Mike.
All right, Chicago Bulls question. How good can your team be if Josh Giddey is your best player? What is your, in other words, what is your thoughts on Josh Giddey being the de facto ball handler alpha on your team?
I think you can be a 4 or 5 seed in a conference, and I think that you can be pesky in the first round of the playoffs, and maybe or second round of the playoffs. That's your thing. Listen, we all saw the DeAndre Hunter breaking Josh Giddey's poor ankle. I that guy went flying. He didn't play the next game because of his ankle. So did you see? Did
He's
you
dated.
see Underdog NBA?
He's dated. He's dated. He's day to day,
Did you
baby.
see Underdog? Did you see Underdog NBA is hilarious too. They tweet and people who and they're like their injuries and they make stuff up and they wrote Josh Giddey out and then put in parentheses DeAndre Hunter. I thought that was so good. Listen,
That's funny.
I think maybe a 4 or 5 seed at best with if you're your primary ball handler. Listen, if he's your primary ball handler and threat, you're not doing much. I will say when I was watching them play the Cavs the other night, the Chicago Bulls, Isaac Okoro trading 3 threes, and I was like, well, nice to see that he can shoot 3 ball because I felt like every single time he shot the ball in Cleveland, and it was a miracle that we won that game. Okay,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
went a 12-0 run, and and all that. And so I just think Chicago's good. I don't think they're great. I think they're going to end up in the I think they're going to end up having a better season than I want them to have because I have Bulls losses. I think they're going to end up because the East is so bad. I think they're going to end up in that 7-8 spot, 6-7-8 spot. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I like Giddey. I think he's good. I just think that your top end is below championship level if he's your best player or if he's your guy that has the ball in his hands all the time. And now that being said, he's averaging 21 a game and almost 10 rebounds, and he's averaging 9.6 rebounds, 9.3 assists. So he's almost averaging a triple double. And
Yeah.
he clearly has skill. He's improved his 3-point shot. He's shooting 38% on like 4.5 attempts per game. And the knock on him was always right. The teams didn't guard him and that he wasn't very effective defensively. And I think those two things are probably still true to some degree, but he certainly improved that. I just don't know again if he's your best player, if he's your guy that has the ball in his hands, which is basically what he is for Chicago. And they've been very good and they've been very surprising. But at the same time, right now they're 6-4. And 6-4 is a good record for the Chicago Bulls, but it doesn't really translate to them being a 50-win team and suddenly being in the top half of the Eastern Conference. I would expect them to finish down in the 5, 6, 7, 8 spot somewhere in there. And I think, look, you can maybe get a little bit better with that if you put the right kind of roster around Josh Giddey. But again, do you want to build your franchise around him? I would argue probably not.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Next
Next team. Next
should be
team.
the
Here we
Cavs
go.
next, I believe.
Next team. All right. Here comes the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Share your screen, Mike.
Oh, man. Oh, sorry. What? I thought I clicked it. Sorry. I click on the site and then when I click on the site, I have to
Okay.
click share too. So I was doing so
So
well.
when so I'm just going to give a little talk about this jersey. Okay. When I saw
Okay, go ahead.
yesterday that they were doing it was nothing's more Cleveland than we're going to do a jersey release celebration party at Edgewater Beach the day after it snowed for the first time in Cleveland, Ohio. There's nothing more that screams Cleveland than that. Listen, I like the looks of this jersey, Mike. I like the orange. I think it looks nice. I like this is the land. Listen, it's one I like. I think it looks clean. I think it looks nice. I to your point, I know they don't. This doesn't incorporate any of the like traditional. I mean, orange was a Cavs color when I was a kid because the blue and the
Right.
black
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that. But I like these ones. Certainly, I like these ones more than the orange ones that when LeBron was here. I did not like the orange ones when LeBron was here. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah. Those are bad. Those are bad.
I like the looks of this one. Am I running out to the store and buying one? No, I'm not running out to the store and buying one. But I do like the looks of it.
I'm gonna give this one an eh. It's okay. I like the blue. I like the light blue ones from last year, which is essentially the same almost jersey, right? They had the little, I don't know, whatever the interesting mosaic that they had that was on the court last
It was
year
Cleveland
and
Metro
was
Park.
also
It was the
incorporated.
Cleveland Metro Parks last
Yeah,
year. That's the other thing I
that was
like about the
also
Cavs jerseys is they like do certain things, and I think most of them have some sort of, but like they're doing different ones. Like 2 years ago, there was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ones. This last year was the Metro Parks. This is Edgewater Beach. You know,
is that
I
thing supposed to be the sun? Is that what the ball is supposed to look like? The
yeah, that's
sun?
the
Is that
sun.
what it
That's the
is?
sun. Yeah, it is. It's supposed to look like
Okay.
the sun.
All right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm an I don't hate it, but yeah, I wouldn't. I like the ones. I like the light blue ones last year better than these. So I'll give this a eh.
Okay. All right, my Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, so before I asked you the question, Mike, you saw that Mitchell, Mobley are sitting out tomorrow night for rest, and Jalen Tyson's out with a concussion, and Darius Garland is obviously he's injured now, and he's on injury management. So who knows how long he's going to be out? Okay, so here's my question: if Darius Garland is out for most of the season, can the Cavs still compete for an NBA championship?
Um, I mean, I, here's what I'll say. Here's how I'm gonna answer that. No, they cannot. Conversely, if you ask me the same question and you say, can they win it with him? I'm gonna say the answer is no. And eh, I just this team, it's frustrating to watch, and I just don't really understand. I- Every time I
Showing
watch
this
them,
again.
I just feel like there's something. I just feel like there's something missing with this team in, and I don't even know if it's moments so much as it is games. I feel like I can be watching like the game cast and just getting a feel for what's happening in the game and know whether they're going to be able to come back and win or whether or not they're going to play. They just there's something missing with this team. And I guess when I look at who they're going to have to beat in the playoffs, I just don't know if they can. Like I look at the New York Knicks and I'm not convinced that the Knicks are going to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA
Yeah.
Finals because I'm still not a believer in Karl Anthony Towns and what he is. But the Knicks, I still go back to again that playoff series 3 years ago where they just completely annihilated the Cavs on the boards. And if Mitchell Robinson's healthy, I don't see Jared Allen and Evan Mobley dealing with Mitchell Robinson in any kind of a positive way. I see the Knicks just again destroying us physically. Then you look at the team that right now has the best record in the Eastern Conference. And look, I don't think Detroit is better than the Cavs, but I'll tell you one thing, physically.
Hey, we're one of the two. We're one of the two losses that the Detroit Pistons have, right? We beat
Yeah,
Detroit,
I
right?
think so. Did we? I don't
Yeah,
think we played Detroit, did we? We did?
I'm pretty sure. Like
I don't
game
think
three
so.
of the season.
Did we?
I swear.
No, I don't think
October
so.
27th. Cavs 116, Pistons 95, buddy. Come on, man. It was the second
Where?
game of the season. In Detroit. We beat them 116 to 95. Come on, man.
Oh, I see it. Okay. All right. Yeah, I see it. Look, I don't know. I just when push comes to shove, Detroit is a physical, tough team. Duran, Beef Stew, Thompson, Ron Holland, like these guys are ready to go. And I just feel like the Cavs are missing.
But you
I
forget
just
that JB Bickerstaff's their head coach, Mike. Come on now.
look. I don't. I'm not necessarily saying that I think the Pistons are better or that they would beat the Cavs in the playoffs. I'm just saying that if I look at the teams that the Cavs are going to have to compete against, and I look at the physicality that some of those teams have, and then I think about the physicality of the Cavs and the toughness of the Cavs and the sitting
You're
out and
dubious.
the
You're a little
rest.
dubious, is what you're.
I'm a little dubious, man. And every time I watch them play, I get more and more dubious. Even when things look, and the Cavs are ultra skilled, right? It's a good team. They're going to win probably close to 60 games when all is said and done, even if Garland doesn't play, just because they're talented and the East is bad. But there's a difference between being a really good team and being a front runner and beating up on bad teams, and then being able to come through and summon your best and your toughness in the moments when they're really
Yeah.
needed. And I continue to just have questions about whether or not this team has what it takes the way they're currently constituted. Like I just don't know like their who's their tough guy that grabs everybody by the throat and says, "Come on, man, let's go." Like I like all their players, but I don't know if they have that kind of guy. And in so many ways, this team
We're
reminds me of
missing Mike.
the
Let's just say it.
it
Let's just
reminds me
say it.
it reminds
They're
me of the
missing.
door it reminds
They're
me of the
missing a.
Doherty Price.
They're missing the Draymond Green type.
Yeah. They remind me of the Doherty Price Nance Cavaliers. Great team, great dudes. Push comes to shove. I'm not sure they got another gear, and I'm not sure that if they're going to get pushed around, that they have anybody that's going to push back. And that's a problem, man. It's a problem in the playoffs. So I guess to answer your question, I think the answer is no without Garland, but I'm starting to lean that the answer is no even with him. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they can find whatever gear or toughness button that they need to find. But I'm just not convinced that this team has it.
Okay. Hey, Mike. I'm just throwing this out to you. We're at 48 minutes, and we're like
I know.
6
I
teams
know.
in. Do we
I
just
know.
want to do? Do we just want to do half
I know.
today and then half next week?
I don't know. Maybe let's just keep going and see. Let's just see. Let's just see where we're at. Maybe we can.
Well, I
We've
don't
hit
think
on a
this would be
lot
like
of.
a 2-hour
Well,
episode.
that's right. We got nowhere to be. I'm retired, man. I got nothing to do.
Oh,
All right.
you're
So you can
retired.
see.
I have got places to be, man.
Come on, man. You're listen,
Dallas,
man. Whatever.
Dallas,
Okay.
Dallas.
All right.
Whose jersey are you buying, Mike? Mike, I know it's not my question. Whose Dallas jersey are you buying? I'm just kidding.
Okay. Okay. All right. Dallas Mavericks. That's a thumbs up, man. I like it. I like the blue and the
Oh, I like
black.
it.
It's
Yeah,
I'll give that. I like that one. I like that one. I'm
they
good with
they
that.
they won a lot today. They win by firing Nico Harrison, and they win by releasing this jersey all on the same day.
Nice. There you go. All right. That sounds like a good plan. All right. My question for you, right? I'm asking you the question. So, well, let's keep it simple and go with: is Cooper Flag going to win the Rookie of the Year? Do you think ultimately, when it comes down to it, he was the overwhelming favorite heading into the season? Dallas is probably not going to have a good year. Flag statistics probably are going to be hit or miss. I had him at what? I think I had him at 16, 4 and 4. You had him at 28 and 8, if I remember correctly. Currently, he's at
That's not happening.
15. Currently, he's at 15, 7 and 3 right now. And he's shooting 42% from the floor and 26% from three, although he is shooting 89% from the line. So is he rookie of the year?
Probably. I don't think it's as dominant as we would have thought. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's closer. I think it's a closer battle. I think the thing that you look at is the other two rookies that you mentioned are also, the VJ Edgecombe has potential because the Sixers are in the East that they're going to have a better record. but the Charlotte Hornets are not going to be good, and they're not going to have a good record. Dallas is not going to have a good record. So I think the only problem that could possibly come up would be that if VJ Edgecombe has similar stats and the Philadelphia 76ers are in the playoffs and they're top 5 seed, then maybe you can make the argument there. That's I think Cooper Flagg's still currently the leader, and I mean I don't know what the odds are. I'm sure he's probably is still the leader, but I'm saying the door is open should the opportunity present itself.
Yeah, I think he still wins it because I think he's going to get better over the course of the season, but it's definitely not going to be a walk away, which is what most of us, I think, thought prior to the season. All right, let's move on. Next team. See, that one we went relatively quickly, although we had already talked all our Dallas Maverick stuff. All right, our next team, the Denver Nuggets.
I like this. It's classic old school. I like it. It kind of looks like 8-bit a little bit. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
That's a thumbs up. I like it. It's the mountains, you got the city, you got the traditional Denver multicolor there. I always like the black jerseys. So thumbs up for Denver. All right, I'm gonna ask you. Oh no, are you asking me?
Oh no,
You're
it's my
asking me a
question.
Denver Nuggets. Yeah, you're
Okay,
asking me a Denver
this is a
Nuggets
silly
question.
but I'm gonna ask. Yeah, this is a silly question. I'm gonna ask it to you, and I want you to think about it for a second.
All right. Okay. Go for it.
Is Nikola Jokic underrated?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, so here's what I'll say. I think historically, you can look at it and say that he is underrated to some degree. I think you can look at in the moment, right, and just look at him compared to his contemporaries and say that he is, I think, overrated or sorry, underrated simply because, and we've talked about this before, and I've made this point that he does not look at all like what we think of as a traditional NBA superstar. He's not fast. He's not muscle bound. He's not a guy who jumps out of the gym. He's not making spectacular plays in the sense of spectacular plays athletically or what we think of as being athletically. He's making spectacular plays if you appreciate passing, if you appreciate some of the nuances of the game. And so I think some of those things get lost in today's highlight culture, right? There are things that unless you love passing, again, there's not many Jokic highlights of him scoring, right? Most of his highlights are as a
Yeah.
result of him throwing passes, which people who love basketball love that, but I think your average NBA fan maybe doesn't appreciate that. And so when you look at what
You see it?
he's doing,
Did you see it? Did you see his post game? Did you see his post game interview, Mike, when they asked him about the dunk, and he said he didn't remember the dunk, and then they showed him the dunk, and he said I was open. Did you see
there
that?
you go. So I did not see it, but yeah.
That was funny. I enjoy it. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, look, the guy is again this year putting up a 25, 13, 12 triple double. And statistically, there really has never been anyone like him in the modern era, right? You can go back and look at Wilt stats from the
Well,
60s and see seasons where he's averaging whatever 25 rebounds and teams were missing so many shots. And Wilt obviously had the one year where he led the league in assists, but that was kind of because he was trying to prove a point that people said all he wanted to do was score and so that he could pass. But Jokic is just a singularly unique talent. I think when you look at him currently today, the reason why he's underrated is simply because his highlights are passes and not some of the spectacular plays that other superstars in the past have had. And then if you look at him historically, what you're looking at is he needs another NBA championship or two in order to vault himself up into the conversation with I know Simmons has talked about him. Can you start to talk about him in the Bird Magic type of realm, just in terms of again the way he plays, right? Plays the game the right way, brings his teammates along with him. Yeah, but Bird had 3 titles, Magic had 5, Jokic has 1. And so hard to elevate a guy who only has 1 championship into that stratosphere, despite the fact that, again, if you look at the rosters that Bird and Magic played with compared to the rosters that Jokic has played with, there's really no comparison. So it's hard to gauge exactly where he fits, but I would say he's underrated both currently. Crazy for a guy who's won whatever 3 out of the last 5 MVPs, but I think he's also underrated historically at this point. And again, his career is not over, and there's potentially more championships to be won and more MVPs, and he's going to continue to put up crazy statistics. So he's only going to climb the ladder historically, but he probably needs another title or two to vault him into where
Yeah.
just his skill level alone probably should carry him. But if he only has 1 title, he's probably not going to get to the level that we think he should.
Okay.
All right.
See, that was a good
Next
question, wasn't it,
team.
Mike? I thought that was a good question.
That was a good question. That was a good question. That was a good question. I liked it. I liked it. All right. Next up, we have the Detroit Pistons.
Mike, this one to me is pretty solid. I like that it's the old school Detroit blue. Like, I like that. You know,
That's not the old school Detroit blue.
But
That's the new school Detroit blue.
no,
That's not the bad boy
well, I'm saying it's
Pistons blue. That's the
I'm
Grant
thinking like,
Hill era.
okay, so when I think, well, that's what that's me. Remember, that was me in my era, Mike. The
That's
90s.
new school.
Okay,
That's
the
new
90s.
school.
That's
the new school. That's the new school Detroit.
But to me, Mike, that was when I was a kid. I was talking about the Grant Hill era of Detroit. Okay, that's what I was talking about. I was barely alive.
Fine. That's fine.
Boys.
That's fine.
Okay, but anyways, I like it. I think it looks nice. It looks clean. I'm probably I'm a meh to okay, good, or meh to good. I'm in that like range.
Yeah, I might push this over top to good because I like the trim. I like the trim. I like the blue with the yellow and the
Yeah.
red. I think that looks solid. I don't necessarily love the Detroit and the number, but I like black jerseys and I like the trim. So I'll give it a thumbs up. All right, my question for you, Detroit Pistons. Can JB Bickerstaff, will he ever be the coach of an NBA championship team?
No. Do I need to expand?
No, you don't need to expand. I think that's all we've seen. Look, kudos to JB Bickerstaff. He's doing a great job in Detroit, but I don't think that he'll ever be a championship coach. I could be wrong, but I don't think he will be. So, all right, let's move on. That was a quick one. Next team. Here we go.
Listen, like a matter of fact, no is the answer.
Yeah, that's fair. Look, that's fair. That was a good answer. That's the question was intended to get it like that. All right, here we go. Golden State Warriors.
Thumbs down. What is this? This looks terrible. I'm out. You might
I like it.
think you might go
I like it.
Oh,
no,
God,
I like it.
Terrible.
No, I like it. I like
See, I like having it's one with nature.
I like having I like having something more than just the name of the city on your jersey. I like having some kind of a graphic. So I don't necessarily love this graphic, but I like that there is a graphic. And then for some reason, again, you never see sort of that brownish, creamish color. So it's a little bit different. I like the yellow stripe on the side. I'm down with it. It's not the best one that I've seen, but that's a thumbs up for me.
Okay. All right.
All right.
My question for the Golden State Warriors. And I guess this is more longevity question than it is.
Okay.
Do you believe it? Okay. If you would you rather have prime Steph Curry shooting a 3 or prime Ray Allen shooting a 3?
No, I think you'd rather have Steph. I mean, I don't think you'd pick anybody else besides Steph. Obviously, Ray Allen is right there in terms of being a great shooter, but I think Curry has proven over and over and over again that he's going to come up with big moments. He's continued to get better, I think, throughout his career, right, as a clutch shooter. You think back to that first playoff finals with the Cavs, and Steph doesn't win the MVP. And then obviously while Durant's there, Durant wins it 2 times. And I think there was some questions as to whether or not Steph was rising to those moments. And then obviously winning the title in 22, where he has the huge game 5, scores 41 in Boston and basically puts that series on ice. And then what he did in the Olympics. And then obviously he just has the incredible heaters that he has had throughout his career. To me, I just think that there's no way you would pick anybody besides the greatest shooter in the world to take a three with the game on the line. Now, maybe if you wanted to give me some other names, maybe there's guys that just for whatever reason, if you're going to give me,
Michael
I
Jordan or
guess you
Steph
wouldn't want to
Curry
have,
with the 3-pointer on the line, Mike.
I
Michael Jordan or
guess you
Steph
wouldn't want to
Curry
have,
for 3.
I guess you wouldn't want to look, you wouldn't say if you're just strictly limiting it to threes, you probably still would pick Steph, right? I mean, just there's no track record really of Jordan hitting game-winning three-pointers. It just wasn't a thing when he was playing. If you gave me Larry Bird or Steph Curry, you might have had me thinking and considering which one of those guys I might have wanted to take that shot in that moment. But I still think that it comes back to Steph's the greatest shooter in the history of the game when you factor in all the different types of shots that a player can shoot, right? Off the dribble, off the catch,
Yeah.
off movement, running through screens, going different directions from way beyond the arc. There's just nobody better. So yeah, Steph's the answer to that question.
All right.
All right. Next up, let's move to here we go. We are going to the Houston Rockets.
I'm down with it, Mike. I'm down with it. I like it. It reminds it kind of, you know, it's vibes of the Houston college team a little bit, don't you think? A little bit.
Yeah, there's some Houston Cougars in there a little bit. I don't love the white. I'm gonna give this one an eh. Initially when I first see it, like I like the H Town, I like the red and the with the blue trim around it. I just I don't know. I don't like the white jersey. I think if you flipped it around and you made the jersey red and made the H Town white, I think I would like it. I think I'd like it more if you basically gave me the negative version of this jersey. So I like the design. I don't love the white, at least not in this case. So all right.
All right.
Houston Rockets question. Do the Houston Rockets need a point guard, or can they continue to go with the point guard? I don't even know if it's by committee, but putting the ball
The
in
committee.
Amen Thompson's hands and Reed Shepard's hands. What do they need to do? Do they need a point guard? Are they going to go and trade for
They,
something, or is
they need a
Houston going
point
to
guard.
kind of
They need a
stand
point
pat?
guard, and his name is Derek White. They need a point guard, and his name is Derek White.
Okay,
I think
that's
if
fair.
Derek
What do they
White
have to get?
somehow is made,
What do they have to give up? What do they have to give up to get Derek White?
Reed Shepard, get rid of ship off Reed Shepard, ship him off.
Okay, you're
Um,
not a fan. You're still not a fan. Still not a fan.
I'm not buying in. I'm not buying
Okay.
into the Reed Shepard. I think Reed
Okay.
Shepard is gone. I think. I mean, I don't. Do they have? They don't have any picks, right? Or do they have any picks left?
Well, they
Like,
have picks. They
do
have a
they
lot.
have
They
any
have a lot.
picks?
They have a lot of picks left. Trying to see if I can find. I feel like ESPN does a poor job of having that type of information available at your fingertips, but they have Houston has stuff because they still have things from the original, I believe, uh, from the Harden deal. I think they still have picks from someone through there, and I think they have an Oklahoma City pick somewhere. They have picks to be able to trade. I just can't remember off the top of my head, and I can't find it. Uh, ESPN, like I said, does a bad job of of having that. So I think Houston, if they were going to try to make a move for Derek White,
They
obviously
have
Boston
okay.
would want some draft capital.
They have okay. The 2027 they have the Phoenix. They have the Phoenix 2027 draft pick, first round draft pick with no.
That's a good pick. That's a
They
good
have
pick.
with no protections. They have the 2027 first round pick with the Brooklyn swap rights. Houston has the right to swap its 2027 pick, first round pick for Brooklyn's 2027 first round pick. And Brooklyn's going to be terrible next year. So that's a good.
Yeah.
They have their first in the 2028 draft. They have their own.
All right,
yeah,
so if
they've got a lot
if
of
we're
picks. Okay,
constructing
so
if we're constructing a Derek White trade, right? Boston is probably going to want one of those,
a first,
either the Brooklyn pick or the Phoenix pick, and probably one more pick, a Houston pick, right? So two number one picks, and then Boston would probably ask for two players and maybe get one. Like I could see Tari Eason and or Reed Shepard being in that trade. To me, that's probably the trade. One of those really juicy picks.
trade Reed Shepard immediately.
Yeah, see, I think Reed Shepard offensively is probably going to be okay, but defensively, we said it after opening night. I just don't think there's ever going to be a chance that he's going to be able to stay on the floor defensively. Now, maybe Houston is maybe the kind of team where they have four long, huge defenders around him that they can make up for it. But I just don't think Reed Shepard is going to be that great of an offensive player that you're going to be like, okay, no
You can
problem. We'll just let
sacrifice
this
that
guy.
for.
Yeah. We'll let this guy be a turnstile at the other end. He's not Trae Young. He's not even Darius Garland. He's not
James Harden.
at that level. At least right, James Harden. He's not at that level offensively where you can put up with just him being a complete non-entity on defense. Now he's shooting 48% from three on 5.5 attempts so far. So I mean, if he continues to do that, there's value there. I just don't think there's value in a playoff series because I think he'd get played right off the floor. So yeah, if all Boston wanted was Shepard, I think they'd probably want Tari Eason if they were going to ask for a player that they could legitimately get off of Houston's roster. I think Tari Eason would be the guy that they'd probably want. They might want Jabari, but Jabari, I guess, makes a little bit more money, although he's tied in now to that contract of whatever. I think he got signed for 125, something like that. But I think Tari Eason would probably be the guy. But it'll be interesting to see what Houston does because I think they would be better off with a point guard. And yet, in some ways, unlike the Cooper Flag experiment, I think Amen Thompson can handle that job, not maybe at the same level as a true point guard could, but I do think that the reps long term are going to be good for Amen Thompson. So maybe you give him a half season of reps and you get a Derek White in there in February and have a guy that can lead your team. Derek White would look really good on this team. So it's just a matter of does Houston want to pay the price that it would cost to be able to get him. All right. Next team. Here we go. Let's get to our next team, which is the Indiana Pacers. That's a thumbs up right there.
Yeah, that's a Rick Smits. They're bringing back Rick Smits vibes, like old school a little bit. I like it.
Chuck Person.
Chuck definitely better than the
first
product.
guy I thought about.
Well, you're a little older than me, Mike. We've already covered that tonight. So
that's true. That's true.
I think this is better than any product that the Indiana Pacers have put on the floor so far. So good job, guys.
There we go. I like it. I like it. All right. It's me asking you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my question for you related to the Indiana Pacers is what does this do? What do you do? What do you do if you're Indiana with all these injuries? You have to be full on tank mode since you were able to get back your draft pick from the Pelicans, right? This team is is just it's
Tank,
they're just going to lose
Tankapalooza,
repeatedly at
Mike.
some point. Yeah, at some point, Pascal Siakam's got to get shut down with some kind of injury, and they're just gonna they have to go full tank mode, right?
Yes, they have to tank. They have to tank. They have to tank. Listen, Halliburton's not coming back. There's not any chance whatsoever. It's bad news for my NBA draft pool, as I've already stated. But there's just no chance that this team has any chance of competing for anything other than the number one pick. That's legitimately what their season is now. Now they're not as bad as Brooklyn, and I think, listen, I'm not going to accuse the NBA of meddling with the lottery picks or anything. I'm not going to do that in this podcast. We're not going to do that. But if any team deserves some goodwill from the NBA, it would be the Indiana Pacers, just based on the fact that the Halliburton injury, how everything went down, how they had, there was a huge storyline last season in the playoffs about how well they played. And, I once again, I'm not going to accuse the NBA of meddling with the affairs or anything, but I think if you go full on Tankapalooza and you give yourselves a chance to have one of those top 3 picks with one of those 3 big names coming out, I think that's the way they should embrace it and go, and then see what happens, because I know that will be hard for Carlisle, I think, because Carlisle doesn't like to lose. But I think if they were smart, that's where they would go.
If you put one of those guys who turns out to be a future NBA superstar, and then you bring back a healthy Halliburton, and the rest of this team certainly gets really interesting in Indiana really fast. So yeah, I think they definitely have to tank. All right, next team, here we go. Our next team is the Los Angeles Clippers.
I'm thumbsing down this one. I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
I don't know. I'm going. I don't. I guess I don't love. I don't love the. I'm gonna give this one a. I could go either. I could go either way on it. I don't. I definitely don't hate it, but my initial reaction is not. Oh, I love that. I think it looks great. It's got some interesting, different things to it. I like the stars on the side. I like the movement in the LA. I guess I'm not just a big. I don't love the. I don't love the orange. I don't love the orange on the Cavs, and I don't love this particular orange either. So I'll give it a.
Is that orange? It looks like red to me. Is that orange?
My screen, it looks like orange, but it could be red, right? The Clippers, it would make more sense if it's red. I guess if it's red, maybe I give it a thumbs up. I don't know. It looks orange on my
Scroll
screen.
down for a second. Scroll down for a second. Scroll down for a second. Scroll down for a second. This year's
Okay.
no, there you go. Read the blurb. Read the blurb. Read the blurb. Read the blurb. Read the blurb below it.
Says
There's a blurb.
traded born in Buffalo, bold black, orange, and white. Later adding light blue. The colors carried through San
Oh,
Diego.
orange.
So
Okay.
orange, so orange. See, I thought it was orange. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'll give it a. I don't. I just don't like
Yeah,
orange. I guess for a jersey.
I'm no.
I don't know.
I'm a no. I don't like either.
All right.
So
Okay. All right.
all
All right.
right.
Throw me your
Are you
Clippers
ready?
question.
The Clippers. I sent you a text saying, I'm really enjoying this Clippers performance. And you said they're terrible. How do you feel about picking the Los Angeles Clippers in your NBA totals draft with your 6th pick with the Clippers wins? How are you feeling on your confidence level? How are you feeling about the Clippers wins pick that you made in the 6th round?
My confidence is not feeling good. I definitely do not feel that great about my Clippers pick. I feel as though the Clippers are a team that, ooh, man, obviously a lot has had to go right for them when they've been successful, and a lot has had to go wrong. I think that this season, James Harden has been even worse defensively than he normally is. Bradley Beal has been terrible defensively. Kawhi is currently out with an ankle injury. Zubac has not been as good as he was last year, where he was borderline getting consideration for the All NBA team. Uh, this, I don't know. The Clippers are a dysfunctional franchise. You have the whole aspiration thing still hanging over the
You saw
sort of as a
you saw
cloud
he's being sued, right?
above ball.
You saw he's being
Yeah, I did see that.
sued.
Yeah, which none of this can really be too helpful to the Clippers' ability to focus and play good basketball. They're one of the worst. I think back to the Jeff Van Gundy T-shirts in the preseason, exhorting their team to get back on defense, which really has not happened to any serious degree with the Clippers this season. And I just think that this team, I've said it over and over again when it comes to teams that are being led by James Harden, that is a problem. It's usually not as much of a problem in the regular season, which is why I thought the Clippers, if Kawhi could play 50 games, that this team I thought could be better than last year's team, at least as a regular season group. And clearly they pushed Denver in the playoffs, who was arguably the second best team in the league last year.
Yeah.
So I haven't completely given up on the Clippers kind of finding themselves if Kawhi can get healthy, but it certainly has not looked good in the first 10 games. So I'm not feeling overly confident about my high drafting of Clippers wins. Let's put it that way. All right. Let's move on to our next team. Here we go. Our next team we are going to discuss is the Los Angeles Lakers.
What is
It's a
something about
thumbs
this
down.
jersey? Just oh god, that is what is that the way that it's like not evenly spread and oh, that's bad. That's a bad jersey.
Yeah. Hard for the Lakers. I think
That's a
like
bad
generally
jersey.
speaking, the Lakers colors are good. And I do like the black. And I honestly
Well,
feel like
that's why
if you took Los Angeles off there and just had the 23 and the Lakers, I think this jersey would be a thumbs up. I do not like the way Los Angeles is
like
written.
some five.
And
It looks like some five. It looks like some 5-year-old designed of Los Angeles, Mike. That's what it looks like.
yeah, that's bad. That's a bad one. All right. Let's ask our Los Angeles Lakers question. This is me asking you. The Los Angeles Lakers, what does it look like? I'm going to ask you your favorite question. What does it look like when LeBron comes back? What happens to LeBron and this team? How do you think it plays itself out over the course of the season?
I'm going to say it in 3 words, and it actually 3 words. Unlike Charles Barkley, must see TV. I am looking forward to whatever's going to happen. I honestly think that you could tell me anything is going to happen, and I would believe you. You could tell me that LeBron's going to come in and it's going to be a seamless thing, and I'll believe you. You could tell me LeBron's going to come in and all of a sudden it's going to become ball dominant and it's going to completely ruin everything that the Lakers are doing. You could tell me that LeBron's going to come in and then within a week demand a trade. You're going to tell me that LeBron's going to come in and be pout when he's on the floor because he's not touching the ball. You could tell me all of these things, and I probably would believe you. So that's where I'm going. That's where I'm thinking. I think it's must-see TV.
Perfect. I think it's a good answer. I think your answer also demonstrates why Jordan is the GOAT and LeBron is not the GOAT, because there would never be any question of if Jordan came back, would he be pouting? Would he be trying to sabotage? Would he be whatever? He'd be doing whatever it would take to win. Now, that might not necessarily be the best thing for his team, but you can guarantee that he would be trying to help his team win in the best way that he knew how. So I'll leave it there. All right. Next team, let's go to is the Memphis Grizzlies. That's a thumbs up right there. That's a nice looking jersey. I like it.
Really? You just got done telling me that you didn't like the white. You literally just got
this has got
like two or three jerseys ago
right.
saying that you don't like the white.
Right, the Houston was just the whole boring white, there was nothing to it. This has got, like, the pinstripes on it or whatever's going on, and then you got the piping on the side. That's a win. I like the Memphis font. I like the number, the way the numeral is split in half. That's a win, man. Plus, I like the color, the baby blue with the different shades of blue on there. That's a thumbs up for me.
Okay, I'm a meh to down on that one.
Okay.
Like I'm a
All
meh
right.
to
That's
down.
fine.
I'm not a huge
All right.
fan,
That's fine. All right. Give me your Memphis question.
but I don't really like the Memphis jerseys to begin. I want them to just. They should just wear this. They should just bring those back all the time. All right, my Memphis question is: Ja Morant on this team come the trade deadline?
Oh man. So I think the problem with the Ja Morant situation right now is that I don't think Memphis would be sad to see him go. Maybe the city of Memphis and the Memphis fans might be sad to see him go. I don't think that the team would be sad to see him go. But I also think that right now, at the level that Morant is playing at, and with the money that he makes and the position that he plays, I don't know that there are many places where Ja Morant makes sense because he
Makes
doesn't really
sense.
shoot
Yeah.
three. He doesn't really shoot threes. So he clogs you a little bit, right? Because he doesn't play. He's not shooting. He's not spacing the floor when he's off the ball. And right now, he's not nearly as
Yep.
electric or as athletic as he was. And defensively, he's not ever been a great defender. And he's been even worse this year than he has been in the past, which was not very good to begin with. And so when you look at a playoff contender trying to trade for him, does he fit into what teams would want to do when they're playing basketball in the playoffs? And I think the answer to that question is no. Then you look at would a team that wants him as a box office draw want to trade for him? Maybe, at least the past version of Ja, but this version isn't nearly as chock full of highlights as the previous version was. And so is he going to bring fans to your arena if you are a losing team? Is he going to impact your team in a positive way? It's crazy. I know we've said this on the podcast before, but it's hard to imagine a guy whose both star and reputation has fallen further and faster than Ja Morant, who was right near the top of the league 3 or 4 years ago in terms of popularity, in terms of
Yep.
his ability to endorse product, his popularity both among basketball fans and among kids. I mean, he still has his shoe is still super popular. My daughter is going to be wearing a pair of Jaws for her season, but a lot of players all over, boys and girls, I see wearing Jaws everywhere. And the fact that we can't even construct fake trades or find teams that would want this guy at the price that he's going to command or with his current contract, but I think he's set to make like mid 40s for the next, I think, 3 seasons. There's not many teams that want or need Ja Morant. And so, all that being said, I think he's still on the Memphis Grizzlies, not necessarily because Memphis wants him to be, but I just don't know if there's anywhere for him to go. I don't think Memphis is dying like we have to get this guy out of town, at least not yet. But I also think that they would be open to it. I just don't know what the market is for him playing the way that he's playing right now because the skills and the things that he brings aren't nearly as additive as we might have thought 3 or 4 years ago in his career. And I just don't know what teams are going to try. I just don't know what team would want him. And so I think he'll still be on Memphis after the trade deadline. And maybe they figure something out in the offseason. But I don't think they're going to make an in-season trade unless this thing goes completely south and they're willing to take 50 cents on the dollar for him just to get him out the door, which they might be at some point, considering his off the court stuff and then just the fact that he's not nearly as effective on the floor. The the pain in the butt ratio to production on the floor is skewing in the wrong direction for Ja Morant. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
All right, the next one. Here we go. We are on to the Miami Heat.
Minnesota, I would guess. Over
Back
here.
to Miami Vice. That's a thumbs up. It's something that we've seen before, but that's a classic City Edition jersey. You got to give that a thumbs up. Great color scheme, the cursive script. That one's a winner, even though we've seen it before.
Told you this. I had a student in my class when I taught 4th grade, and then again in 8th grade, was Don Johnson. I just called him I appreciate the Miami Vice jerseys. I think that it would have been better marketing next year because of model back. Not that you a mega seller, but Miami Vice jersey.
All right, Miami Vice.
Just telling me reconnecting.
Yeah, you're slow. You're slow. I was getting a lot of delay.
And you
I was
keep
getting a lot of delay. I was getting a lot of delay from you. I don't know if that's you or me.
Do you want me to leave?
No, I don't want you to do that because then that creates a lot of editing issues. So oh, there you go. Those of you on YouTube, Jason has left us. He will try to reconnect and we'll see if his new connection is any better than that one, which was quickly degrading. So in the meantime, I'm going to get myself to our next team and get ready to ask a good question about this team. We still got a lot of teams to do.
I'm back.
Right, there you are.
Came back in and you were not in here, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Who knows? All right. Well, you're there. All right. Miami Heat question.
Is it my question or yours?
So that's mine. My question for you. So Miami Heat. What'd you think of the new Eric Spoelstra drive and kick limited screening offense that you got to see last night against the Cavs?
Well, I mean, the Cavs were playing terrible defense, so I don't know if it's a good it's definitely a departure, right? Like I was a little stressed. I was a little confused when I was watching the game because it's not the way that they've ever played. But here's what I'm going to say. It shows you how good of a coach Eric Spoelstra is because he is willing to change a team's identity based on the time and situation and the roster construction. So once again, it further proves that Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. Did you see a video of his fire out of his house, Mike?
I did not see the video. I saw him talking about it with, I think, his kids maybe at the press conference. But yeah, not good. Not good.
Not good. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
All right. Next team. Here we go. We are on to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, oh, that's so bad. It rivals the Minnesota floor. Oh God, that's so bad, Mike. Cream City. What are we doing here?
Yeah, Cream City. This one looks a lot like Houston. It does have sort of the Milwaukee angular numbers, which I kind of like. I don't know. Is the bottom of the jersey green, or is that just the way that the lighting is, or is the entire jersey cream, or is the bottom of it green and then it goes up into the cream? I don't really know. I'm giving this one a thumbs down. It's pretty boring. Thumbs down on this one.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, Mike. I'm not a big fan of it for sure.
All right, give me your Bucks
All right,
question.
what's what is the ceiling for this Milwaukee Bucks team? Can they make? Do you think they legitimately can make the NBA Finals as they're currently constructed?
If Giannis keeps playing like this, the answer is yes. He's been unbelievably lights out, and then to go along with that, Milwaukee collectively as a team, I'm going to get to it right now, but collectively as a team, they're shooting the lights out from three. They are currently shooting from three as a team. They're currently shooting 40% from three on 38 attempts per game. If they can shoot between 38 and 40% as a team, and Giannis continues to do what he's done, which is average 33, 12, and 6, then this team certainly can make the NBA Finals with that particular formula. I just think that I already said my concerns about the Cavs in terms of their softness. And one thing we could definitely say about Giannis is that he is not soft and he is not going to back down from any type of physical play. So I think that they certainly are capable of beating the Cavs. And then I look at the Knicks, and you're going to match me up with Giannis and Karl Anthony Towns. I'll take Giannis in that matchup any day of the week. And so, yeah, I think the ceiling for this team is making the NBA Finals. Do I think they will? Probably not, because do I think that 3-point shooting is real? It might be real in the regular season. I don't know that they have a roster of guys that have a ton of playoff experience or that can step up their game in big moments to knock down the shots that they're going to need to knock down in critical times during the playoffs. But I think if everything were to go well, I don't think it's completely out of the question that this team could make the NBA Finals, which heading into last summer, I think anybody would have said you were crazy if we'd have said that was even remotely a possibility. So I'm going
Yeah.
to say yes to that question.
All right.
All right, let's go. Next team. All right, we're starting to move a little quicker, which we better because we're already at an hour and a half. So here we go.
Yeah,
Next team.
and it's already midnight, Mike. So let's roll. Let's roll here.
I know. We're
You,
trying, man. We're trying. All right, Minnesota Timberwolves. For some reason, I don't know why the second half of the Minnesota Timberwolves isn't showing up, but I like the part of it that I can see.
yeah, I do too.
I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give that a thumbs up. I'm thumbs up on the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
All right, my Minnesota Timberwolves question: does Minnesota have to make a move to get a point guard? Right now, they're playing Dante DiVincenzo as their point guard. Rom Dillingham out of Kentucky, who they drafted 2 years ago, really hasn't demonstrated much off the bench. Mike Conley is nearing the end of his career. I don't think that Anthony Edwards is the playmaker where you can just put the ball in his hands and tell him to go do things. So does Minnesota need to trade for a point guard in order to reach their ceiling, whatever that is, having made the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think they need a point guard, Mike. I just don't have. It's not working, and I'm sad because I liked Minnesota at the beginning of the season. I talked glowingly about Anthony Edwards at the beginning of the season. I just don't think they've got everything that they need. So I believe that they need to get a point guard, or make some sort of change, what's available to them. I mean, I know I already said Derek White's going to get traded to Houston, but like that is another option. Is Derek White going to Minnesota if they're willing to part? And I don't know what the trade, and we don't have to get into like what the trade would look like, but I think they need a point guard. I think
Derek White would look good on Minnesota, but I don't think Minnesota has that enough. I don't think they have picks that they can trade for him, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, but I think
Ja, you want to move Ja to Minnesota?
I have seen some stuff. There were some rumors about that, right? There were some rumors.
I don't think that's a good fit. I don't think that's a good fit.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next team. Here we go. Our next team is the New Orleans Pelicans. That's a thumbs up right there.
Yeah,
that's
I like that jersey. A lot. That is a good
jersey.
jersey.
A good jersey.
It kind of looks like it belongs in Boston. It kind of looks like it belongs in Boston.
Yeah, if you replace NOLA with Boston with that same interesting different font, that would be a win. This jersey's a win. You could put any team's colors on there, and I think the combination of the black and that slightly neon green that's a good color combination. I'm in.
It's a good thing they got a win on the jersey because they're not going to get a lot of wins on the floor.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Okay, Mike, here's my question.
Okay.
Is it time to trade Zion?
I guess I would go back to the same point that we just made with Ja, right? Coming out of the same draft. Man, how the star has fallen. But with Zion, I just at some point, if you're New Orleans, you have to just say we're cutting our losses. We're taking 4 quarters for $1 or 3 quarters for $1. We're going to see what we can get. We'll see what we can get. We're going to build around Herb Jones and Trey Murphy and Jeremiah Fears and move forward with whatever we can get out of that Zion trade and just get out of the Zion business, because at this point, I don't know how you could ever count on him. It's one thing if he goes to a new city and somebody doesn't have the history of this guy disappointing them and getting injured over and over again. Because whenever you go to take a guy to a new place, right, the new place thinks they can fix him or thinks that their environment will be better for him or that it's going to turn around. There's no way New Orleans, after 6 years of this, can ever believe that the guy's going to stay healthy in a regular season, let alone to make any kind of a playoff run. I think if you're New Orleans, at some point, you just have to say, we got to put Zion on the market, see what we can get for him, take the best offer that's available, and get out of the Zion business for good and move on and take the chance that maybe he figures it out. Somehow he ends up staying healthy somewhere else, and man, it comes back and bites you. But I don't think this is a case, unlike the Lucas scenario, where he had already proved it in Dallas. Zion has really proved nothing in New Orleans. And so I think if you're a New Orleans Pelicans front office person, you're looking to just get if you're Joe Dumars, you just got to trade him out and try to get some draft picks and maybe get a young guy and just rebuild and not try to build it around Zion. Just, you've been burned too many times. You got to get out of the Zion business.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. Everything you just said. It's time to move on. And if he does well, wherever he goes to, you just say, well, I'm happy for him, but he wasn't doing it here. And just be done with it.
I agree. All right, next team. The New York Knicks.
I mean, that doesn't look very different from what they currently have. Right? I mean,
yeah, that's I don't dislike it, but it's a meh because it's kind of boring. Like
samey.
You said, it looks
kind of samey.
Yeah,
samey.
It looks similar to what they already have. So I'll give it. I don't hate it. It's not a terrible jersey, but it's a doesn't jump out at me. All right, New York Knicks question. Will Mike Brown's coaching make a difference over the course of the regular season, both because of his offense and his willingness to play the bench, that will somehow then translate into playoff success for the New York Knicks and allow them to get to the Eastern Conference, allow them to get to the NBA Finals for
I
the
mean,
Eastern
I think
Conference.
I think everything you said earlier about the Cavs um, is, and the reason is because of the New York Knicks. It's the Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks and the Cavs. Those are the three teams. I don't think there's a. I think if I had to take any other team in the Eastern Conference, I wouldn't say any of these other teams I would trust to be an NBA Finals contender. And you have to say the New York. I said at the beginning of the season, I felt like the Knicks were going to have the most wins in the regular season, and I was probably the most afraid of the New York Knicks. So I think the answer to that question is yes, because we don't have Thibodeau running guys into the ground, and that was the best selling point that I could have made about the Cavs and the chances of beating them in the playoffs before, was because Thibodeau would run them into the ground. He would kill them. He would run them. He would play 7 guys, 8 guys. But Brown is willing to play 9, 10. I read somewhere, and I don't know, that he's had like 2 or 3 games that he's played 12 guys. So like he's willing to get these guys in and play and manage the minutes and rest them and not kill them, run them into the ground. So I think the answer is a theoretical yes. There are some
They have 10,
caveats being.
they have 10
Go ahead.
guys playing double digit minutes right now. So clearly he's using the bench far more than Tibbs did. Mikal Bridges
Yeah.
leads him with 34 minutes a game right now, which in the
How
Tibbs
many
era
minutes a game is
was
Brunson playing?
Brunson's playing 33.3 minutes per game. So certainly much less than he played last year. So kudos to Mike Brown for that. We'll see if it makes a difference over the course of the long regular season and whether or not these guys are fresher and less prone to injury in the playoffs. And again, whether or not you have guys off your bench that can contribute in a playoff series, right? Part of playing your bench is not just giving your starters rest, but it's also developing guys so that they're ready when you need them in big moments if somebody gets hurt or somebody's in foul trouble. If you haven't played somebody the whole season and then you ask them to step into that role, it just doesn't work. And that's where I think you're going to see some benefit from what Mike Brown is doing here in the regular season. And offensively, who knows? I think the Knicks are number 1 or number 2 in the league in offense right now. So clearly, whatever he's doing is working. I mean,
Yeah,
part of
it's
that is the
working.
talent that they have, but I think what Mike Brown has done so far, you could say, is definitely working. All right, next question. Or sorry, next team. What am I talking about? I'm starting to get a little loopy here. Next team is the Oklahoma City Thunder.
What am I looking at?
And that's a thumbs down.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't even know what
I
I'm
don't like
looking
the
at.
font. I don't like the
Font.
font. I don't like the tire track through the middle of the jersey. Yeah, thumbs down on this one.
All right, we're in agreement on that one. There we go.
Yeah. All right, you got the
Um,
question, right?
yeah, I got the question for you. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Can this team get to 70 wins?
I mean, at this point, you have to say yes. Their second best player hasn't even played yet, and who knows if he will or he won't. I know that I was listening to, I think it was on Zach Lowe's show today. They were talking about the fact that the way Jalen Williams' contract is structured, that in order for him to get the whatever bonus All NBA max, even though he made All NBA last year, that he has to make it again this year. And right now, if he came back today and played, which I don't think he played in tonight's game, he would have to play 65 of their last 69 games. So unlikely that that's going to happen. But the fact that he's their second best player and he hasn't played yet, and they're 11-1, and basically are still just destroying people at every turn, leads you to believe that they're going to have a pretty good chance to make it to 70 games. I just think that the way that this team's played, clearly there's been no hangover. There's been no effect of them saying, hey, we're going to take the foot off the gas. They're just super deep. They play super hard defensively, and Shea can either get to the line or get you a basket pretty much anytime that you want it. And last year, I think they had the best win differential or point differential in the history of the league. And I think it was like 13. And right now they're at plus 14.4 point differential. So clearly this team has not taken their foot off the gas. I think based on what we've seen to this point, you think you'd be crazy to say they're not going to get to 70 at this point, the way things are
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
So I'll say yeah. I'll say yes.
Okay.
All right. Next one. The next team. Here we go. Our next team is the Orlando Magic.
Oh, I love
Whew.
this one. This is a good one.
Oh, well,
I
come
like
on,
it.
come on. You don't. They don't even need to design anything. As long as it had the little Disney logo on there, you would love this jersey. It could just be plain white. You would just with Disney on there.
The star with
You'd
the
be giving it a
A. Come
thumbs up.
on, man. That's good. That's a good
I
one.
like it. I like the stars on the side. Uh, Again, this is a white jersey, but it has a little bit of something to it.
It pops.
On
It
most of the
pops. I like
jerseys, yeah, on most of the jerseys, I like the like three stripes on the like on the piping. This one it works to have like the thick blue around the neck and around the arms. I like it. I'm gonna give that one. I'm gonna give that a thumbs up.
Look at us agreeing on that one. All right.
There we go. All right. So my Orlando Magic question is: what is Paulo Banquero's ceiling? How good can how good is he right now, and how good can he be? Can he ever be a top 5 player in the
No,
league? Where are we at with Paulo?
I think his ceiling. Correct me if I'm wrong. He has not made an All NBA team, right? He did not make it. Did he make an All NBA team last year? No, no, right?
I do not think he did. No.
I think he's a third team All NBA player. That's my ceiling for him. I don't see him being a top 10 player in the NBA. I think there's too many good
I
players
think
out
that's
there.
fair. I think that's fair because here's the thing. I do think that his ability to handle the ball at his size is rare and it's unique. But he's got the ball in his hands a lot, and right now he's averaging 4 assists per game. And although he's putting up 23 a night, he's not shooting it extremely well. Right now, 46% from the floor and only 25% from three. And a player of his type with the ball in his hands who isn't going to shoot it at a high level, I just think that there's a ceiling for that type of player. And I think you're right. He'll probably make a or maybe even multiple third team All NBAs at some point. But I don't see him ever ascending to a top 5 player in the league. I just don't think he's going to get there because I think the shot is always going to hold him back. And the fact that he's not a Luka, LeBron, Jokic level passer. And again, I know those guys are historically great passers, but I don't see Paulo having that type of passing gene in his game at all. So I agree with you there. All right. Next team. Here we go. Now we're starting to move.
How many more teams do we got, Mike?
I don't know, 20. Our next jersey is the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'm okay on that one. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it.
It's like okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not terrible. I'm not sure what the yellow is doing over there on the side. And I'm not sure I like how all of it is crammed in right at the very top. It feels like there's a lot of dead space down below where maybe you could have moved the Philadelphia down and made it a little bit bigger so it was easier to see. I don't know. I'm okay with it.
All right, my
you're asking me a
Philadelphia
Philly
my
question.
Philadelphia 76ers question is, given what we've seen from the Philadelphia 76ers and the depleted state of Joel Embiid's knees and game, can this current iteration of the Philadelphia 76ers compete in the playoffs or no? Should Paul George come back healthy?
Look, if you take and you make all these guys healthy, and I'm going to even say Joel Embiid healthy in the context of Joel Embiid being healthy today, not Joel Embiid being healthy at his peak, then I think this team could be a very, very good potential playoff team. However, I have zero faith that either Embiid or Paul George will be anywhere near their peak come playoff time or be able to sustain said peak should they even reach it during the playoffs. I think Tyrese Maxey is real. When he hasn't been hurt over the last couple of years, he's been sensational. He's been even better than sensational this year. And I think VJ Edgecombe is going to be a really good player in this league, but he's still a rookie guard. Oubre has continued to improve throughout his career. He's become a valuable piece of this team on both ends of the floor. Quentin Grimes, after signing the qualifying offer, has played really well in his role. I don't really love their bench. Did you know Eric Gordon is on the Philadelphia 76ers and Kyle Lowry is also still on the Philadelphia 76ers? I just don't think
I
they
knew
have.
Lowry was. I didn't realize Gordon was. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Jared McCain coming back from injury. He's been back for 2 games now. I don't like this team's bench particularly. And when you talk about a team that has two of their starters who are among the most injury prone players in the league, and then you say that they don't really have much of a bench, I don't really like that for the long term. So I'm going to say that healthy, this team could be potentially dangerous, but in reality, I don't think they're very dangerous at all because I think the odds of them remaining healthy heading into the playoffs is slim and none.
That's fair. Fair.
All right.
All right, next, Mike.
Next team. Next, here we go. We are on to the Phoenix Suns. They're going with the traditional, the Valley.
We've seen this before.
We've seen this before. I'm going to give it an because I've already seen it and it's fine. I don't love it, but it's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I don't love it, but it's fine.
All right. Here we go. My question, Phoenix Suns. Does Matt Ishbia have another crazy move in him? And if he does, does it involve Devin Booker?
I mean, I think the answer is Matt Ishbia is crazy, so he probably does have a crazy move in him. But is there a team that's willing to take Devin Booker? I mean, I guess there's probably a team willing to take him because unlike the Ja Morant and the, Zion Williamson uncertainty with whether they're going to be injured, problems, Booker's still playing solid, right? I mean, I don't know what his stat line is right now, but
Here,
he's
look.
not.
So Booker right now. To answer your question, and I don't think I would have known this off the top of my head, but I pulled up the statistics while you were talking. Devin Booker is currently throwing up a 28, 4, and 7 on 50% from the floor and 40% from three on almost 6 attempts per game. So Devin Booker is playing at a high level. I think the question with Phoenix, let me ask you a follow-up question to my question, which would be, should they trade Devin Booker? Would trading Devin Booker qualify as crazy, or would it qualify as a good move to sort of reset the franchise, or can they
Well,
continue down this path of trying to figure it out around Booker?
I think trading him would probably be the smartest decision they could make because they're not going anywhere anyways, right? I think that's the bottom line. That if they could do a reset and just you know get some picks, do some damage with said picks, I think that probably be the smarter choice. I don't know if they're willing to do that because they just traded Durant. But I think it's probably the smarter decision, wouldn't you? Like, I think that's got to be the smarter decision.
I think Devin Booker's 29 years old. I don't know that you can retool this roster without moving on from Devin Booker. I think trying to retool around him Booker's making $53 million this year, and I forget how long he has on his contract. I just think he signed that 2-year extension in the offseason. I think that adds on to I think next year and then 2 years after that. So you've got him signed through his age 32 season. I know that the age in the NBA has become relative and guys are able to play at a higher level for longer than they could in the past, but I just don't know how easy it is to build a roster around Booker given the constraints that Phoenix already has because of the other previous deals that they've made in terms of draft picks and what they have going out the door. So
Yeah.
I think my guess is that Booker stays there and they kind of float through this level of bad to mediocre for the next few years until they can sort of get some relief from some of their other salaries and get some of their own draft picks back. And who knows where Booker will be at that point and at that stage of his career. But I think Booker probably stays in Phoenix. So, all right, the next team. This is gonna be our longest pod ever, I think, Jay.
I
Next,
mean, we
we
got
have the
Portland. What do we got? Portland and Utah. Is that it? Is that all that's left?
Portland.
Oh,
No,
Sacramento.
we
Oh
got.
my
There's like
gosh.
four. There's like 5 teams left. All right, here we go. Portland. What do you think of this Portland jersey?
Um, it's all right.
I'm a
I mean,
no. I'm a
Portland.
no.
Portland's got a
I'm a
lot of.
no.
Okay.
I'm a no.
Portland's
I
got a
like
lot of
the I
bad
like the
press. I'm
T.
giving them
Yeah,
positive.
yeah. I like the teal on the trim. I don't like the tire tread through the middle of it. I'm not a fan of the tire tread. I didn't like it in Oklahoma City. I don't like this one either. So I'm thumbs down on this Portland jersey. Right. You're throwing me a Phoenix or you're throwing me a Portland question.
Okay. If you were a gambling man, would you say that the Portland Trailblazers have any shot at being in the play-in despite all of the nonsense?
I mean, it's so tough in the Western Conference. Portland sitting 5-5. I do think when I look at Portland's roster, there are guys on this roster that I like. I mean, obviously Avdia has played really, really well. He's averaging 25 a game, and Drew Holiday's a pro's pro. Shaden Sharp has some potential. Jeremy Grant is what he is. Scoot hasn't played. I think this team, it's hard to imagine them climbing out of the bottom 5 in the Western Conference, but you've got some teams ahead of them that are struggling a little bit that maybe allow them to creep into that 10 spot. But if I was betting, I would probably bet on them finishing outside the play-in this year, which wouldn't be an awful thing for Portland because I believe they have their own pick. So maybe they get one more shot at moving up in the lottery. All right, let's move on. Our next team is Sacramento Kings.
Man, I mean,
I
that
don't know,
looks.
man.
I
I'm gonna give that a. I'm gonna give that a. I don't hate it, but I don't necessarily love it. I feel like the Sacramento is too crammed together. The letters are the
yeah,
font is too close together. It's hard to. That'd be. I'd like it better if it said Kings, but I guess that's not the city. But I feel like the Sacramento
yeah.
is crammed in there. Same thing like with the Philadelphia. That's what I don't like about it.
Fair points.
All right, Sacramento Kings. Do the Sacramento Kings have any chance of ever being good again until the Vax sells the team?
That's a loaded question. I don't know. I don't know. Did you see the report that there's going to be considerations to trade Sabonis, DeRozan, and all, like basically just tank? Did you see that report today?
I did not see it, but again, not surprising.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
What's sad about Sacramento is that the early 2000s Sacramento Kings were such a fun team with Weber and Mike Bibby and
Peja
White
Stojakovic.
Chocolate and and just Vlade. That was such a fun team the way that they played. And the fact that Sacramento has been such a backwater for the last 20 years in the NBA is kind of sad to me. But you look at this roster, and I just there's nothing redeemable at all about this roster. Like, is there anybody on this team that you even want to go and see? Do you want to go see
No,
DeMar DeRozan shoot twos? Do you want to see Zach LaVine dunk? I don't. I just.
no.
I don't. There's nothing. Do you want to watch the Russell Westbrook experience at this point?
Hey, you got a triple double the other day. Watch what you say about my
Look,
Russell.
I know
He got a triple double.
Russell's played. He's played relatively well, but we know what the Russell Westbrook experience is. It just feels like since Vivek has owned this team that nothing has really gone right, and I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know where you go from here.
I
None of
don't
these
think they know
players,
what the
again,
plan is, Mike. I don't think they know what the
no, like
plan
none of
is.
these. This team just doesn't make sense together. It doesn't make sense
Yeah.
individually. This team just makes it just makes the Sacramento Kings make no sense whatsoever. So anybody they want to trade and try to start over, more power to them. The Sacramento Kings are very similar to our Cleveland Browns. I don't have a whole lot of faith that whatever decisions they make are going to turn out to be good ones. All right, that's enough Sacramento Kings talk. Let's move on to our next team, which is the San Antonio Spurs.
I like it. I like it.
I'm a meh
I,
on that.
I don't love it.
I don't. Yeah, the Fiesta. I could. I'm okay with the Fiesta, but I don't. It's not calling me. Maybe it's because there's not the trim. I don't like the trim. The fact that you can't the trim doesn't pop. That it's just solid black on the trim compared to the black jersey. I think that's what I don't like about it. So I'm gonna go with a meh on that one. All right, you're throwing me a San Antonio question.
Is Victor Wembanyama the MVP in real MVP considerations at the end of this season?
The answer's got to be yes at this point. San Antonio is currently 8-2. If they finish in the top 6 in the Western Conference and Victor continues to do what he does from both a statistical standpoint and just a highlight standpoint, he checks all the boxes of a great story, a great highlight, a team that has improved. I don't see how he's not in the conversation. Now, again, we've talked about it the last couple weeks on the pod that the performances of the presumptive MVPs statistically has been off the charts. It's not like Shea, Luka, Jokic, or Giannis is having a down year. I mean, all those guys are, you put their stats up against anybody's, you put their stats up against any of their previous seasons, and the stat lines all look pretty good. But Victor's averaging 26, 13, 4 blocks. He's shooting 50% from the floor. He's shooting only 32% from three, but he's shooting 84% from the line. He's the most impactful defender in the league. He's got the best highlight package of anybody in the league at this point. I don't think there's any way you can say that he's not going to be in the conversation if San Antonio continues to play this well as a team, because there's no way that the rest of the roster, which is a good roster, but certainly not a great roster. You have to look at what Victor's doing and say, yeah, he's going to be in the he certainly, if the season ended today, he would be in the top 5. He would be the fifth. He would be the 5th MVP contender beyond the 5 that I mentioned for sure.
Okay.
All right, next one. Next up, the Toronto Raptors. Come on, the dinosaur. That's a win. That's a yes.
That is a win. That is a win for sure. It's a good one. I like it.
You gotta love the dinosaur. You gotta love the dinosaur. All right, I'm throwing you a Toronto Raptors question. What was your take on the Brandon Ingram chuck the water bottle and then sit there and watch while the guy you hit in the face with the water bottle cleaned up after you?
What a clown. Clown action, clown
Yeah.
behavior, clown behavior. Brandon Ingram. I
There's
didn't have
clown.
much respect
There's
for you,
there's
anyways. But there's
yeah
clowns
yeah.
everywhere.
There's clown. There's
You don't
clown.
get
There's
you don't get
clowns
to think
everywhere.
about you don't get to think that as often as you did a few weeks ago.
No, there's clowns everywhere. So let's leave it there. Yeah, do better, Brandon Ingram. Do better, man.
Come on,
Be a better human being than that. Be a better human being than that. All right, let's move on. Next team.
Utah? Are we on Utah?
We are on Utah. So we have two teams left.
Oh, I
All
forgot
right,
about the
Utah
Wizards. So
Jazz. Utah
that's
Jazz.
terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's boring.
I like the color
That's boring.
combination, but the Utah font is kind of dull. I feel like
The
the
A's taking
horizontal
me out.
lines.
The A's taking me out. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's the
the
A. But
the horizontal lines there that are going through the jersey. I think it'd be interesting if you just made like a mountain, made those jagged like mountains. And again, because it's kind of subtle, I think that could add to it. I like the colors. I like the light blue with the navy, but it's a boring font. And again, I don't like how everything is jammed up at the top. And I'd move it down just a little bit. I guess that's just the design. But yeah, I don't. I give this an A. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. All right, Utah Jazz question. This is whose question is that? I don't even remember.
it's my question for you.
Okay,
Is
go.
there enough pizza in Utah to poison the whole rest of the NBA so the Utah Jazz can be good again?
Well, I will give you an answer to that question. What the Utah Jazz need to do. Did you see their score from this evening?
No, no, but I
The
know
Utah
Walker
Jazz
Kessler's
need to
out for the season.
the Utah Jazz need to play the Indiana Pacers every night because the Utah Jazz tonight put up 152 points on the Indiana Pacers. Utah has suffered from bad lottery luck over the last few years. I think they're trying to get one more bite at the lottery apple. Ace Bailey had 20 tonight, so maybe he's coming around and can turn into the type of player that people think that potentially he could be. Obviously, Markkanen has been good again this season after being not good, whether intentionally not good or just not good last year. The question with Utah is, are they going to trade Markkanen? If they do, what could they get for him? Where's he going to go? I think Utah, I don't want to say the future is bright, but it looks like Keontae George is going to be a really good player for the Jazz. I think Ace Bailey is going to eventually be good. I'm not sure if any of their other guys that are the young draft picks that they've had, Filipowski, Sensabaugh, Isaiah Collier, Walter Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, all guys that they've drafted in the last couple of years. I don't know that any of those guys is a top of the line starter on a good team, which is a problem when you've been drafting near the top of the draft or been in the lottery, but they just haven't hit and gotten lucky at the right time. And I think that's Utah's plan is hey, we got to get lucky in the draft because again, Utah, similar to Cleveland and other smaller markets, you're just not going to get free agents to go to Utah. And so you got to get lucky and
Yeah.
draft your franchise player. And it's just going to come down to the bounce of the ping pong balls for Utah to determine where they're at. So, all right, last team, we're finally there.
The Wizards. The
The
Wizards.
Washington Wizards and the Wizards jersey. Let's take a look at it right there. Old school. I like it.
Mm.
Reminiscent of the old
Here's a question.
Washington Bullets.
Is there any
Sure.
Is there any chance they would ever go back to with a like an actual Washington Bullets logo ish, or is there zero chance it's ever going to happen?
Well, this is about as close as this definitely harkens back to the Bullets for sure. I mean, this is sort of the start of their vintage, uh, the vintage stripe and the way
Did I
this is. I
wait?
like
Wait,
the way this
please
plays
scroll
out.
down. Please scroll down. Please scroll down. Did I just see
Yeah.
Antoine Jameson? Oh my God! It says they Wizards legends Gilbert Arenas and Antoine Jameson. Oh my
That's right,
God!
man. Hey,
I'm
those
like,
guys. Well, listen, in the last 30 years, those guys are Wizards legends, right? So, if you're a Wizards legend, that's not saying a whole lot. So, all right, I like it. What's your take on it?
It's okay.
All right, you're
It's all
giving
right.
it a meh. All right, so I have to ask you a question, right, about the Washington Wizards.
Oh, please, please. They're terrible.
Okay, my question for the Washington Wizards: how excited are you for the Wizards Alex Sarr era? How excited are you about the development of Alex Sarr? Because he's honestly been pretty good this year, better than I think people thought last year as the second pick in the draft. There were a lot of people that thought that that was a questionable pick by the Wizards, that maybe Sarr would be a guy that could be a complete bust. And he's honestly gone the other way. And he's leading them in scoring at 18 and a half a game. He's getting 8.5 rebounds. What's your take on Sarr? And I don't know if you've watched it all or seen Sarr at all.
Oh, I mean, I watched the Cavs play the Wizards. I watched that. Um, Here's how excited I am for Alex Sarr.
It's 12:30 a.m. That's how excited you are for him.
No, he doesn't. Let me just say, he doesn't get me. He doesn't get me thinking this is a generational talent that's going to be the best player on an NBA championship team.
I would agree with that. I think he's a good player. I think that when the Wizards, if the Wizards ever become a competent team, Alex Sarr will be a key member of that team. If that ever happens.
You and I will be dead and buried before the Washington Wizards become a competent team, much like the Cleveland Browns.
Well, what's sad is like you mentioned earlier that sort of the karma would be that Indiana deserves to get a top pick. There's some teams here that have been floating around at the bottom, and you can either say that the basketball gods are going to punish them for continuing to tank over and over again, or maybe they're just due for some good lottery luck. And certainly Utah and Washington are two teams that have been waiting a long time. Washington probably much longer than Utah. At least Utah willingly traded out Donovan Mitchell and Gobert. The Wizards the Wizards
The
are a
Wizards
team
had
that I
John Wall and
definitely
you
feel.
had the deal.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's true. I guess they had John Wall at one point, and
Sacramento.
they turned.
That's Sacramento's the team. Sacramento's the only team. Like, who has Sacramento had? It was Harrison Barnes. I mean, they didn't draft Harrison Barnes, but like, who's the best Sacramento draft pick that they've made in?
Marvin Bagley,
I mean,
the baffling Kings took Bagley over Luca, to quote the Hallelujah song. All right, listen, it's we're 2 hours in. Let's leave it there. I don't think unless you have anything else that you want to talk about, let's go ahead and
no,
finish
the
up there.
Browns
Two
suck.
hours and 12
Yeah,
minutes. Yeah. 2 hours. Yeah. There's no point in talking about the Browns. All right. Thanks to everyone. If you're still listening at this point, you are a true devoted
hey,
hoop head.
okay.
So
If anyone listened to this this far into the episode, if you listen to all the way through our shenanigans and our internet issues for a moment or two there, if you listened all the way to the end of this episode and you send a tweet to at Hoopheads or at Jace Uncle, it says, "I made it to the end of the episode." Mike, what do you want to give these people? Let's we'll give you a Twitter shout out, and
Twitter shout
maybe you
out.
could be maybe we'll try to get you to be a guest on a future NBA pod. If you listen to the full 2 hour episode of us rambling on, maybe you can have a guest appearance or a shout out as a friend of the pod or something. Shoot us a message.
Perfect.
Shoot us a message if you made it this far.
Yep. Tweet at us at Hoopheads Pod. All right. Thanks for listening tonight. Really appreciate it. And to everyone out there, thank you for listening. And we will catch you on our next episode.